Welcome to Islamic Life Coach School podcast. Apply tools that you learn in this podcast and your life will be unrecognizably successful. Now your host, Dr. Kamal Akhtar.
Hello everyone. Peace and blessings be upon all of you. The way we create and manifest as Muslims is deeply rooted in our connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But also, it is dependent on our ability to use our mind as a tool, as a wasila, a means to create something that didn't exist before. We use our mind to bring things into reality. And that's the fascinating distinction between wanting something and having it. And that's what often gets lost in the modern manifestation teachings. But as a Muslim, this concept is extremely profound. When you begin to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates all things, and we use our minds as a channel to co-create, you will be able to unlock an entirely new way to live your life, inshallah. So in this podcast, I want to explore the state of wanting versus having. And here we dive into this very deep idea. I want to break it down and simplify it again for you. But the difference between wanting and having is the difference between being stuck in a loop of desire versus living in a state of shukr, sabr, having it with gratitude. That's the difference between feeling like you're constantly chasing something and embodying the energy of already having it. What happens when we move from wanting something to having it is we make a shift with our mind, our body, and within our spirituality. It's like asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a dua and then acting and behaving like it's already been granted. The state of wanting itself comes with a burden. Let's say, like many mothers, you find yourself thinking, I don't want my adult children to yell at me, or I want my children to respect me. It's going to be very easy for you to stay in that place of wanting. And you're not wrong for feeling that way. Wanting something is better than the state of pretending that you can never have what you want. But there's a fundamental problem with staying in that state, because wanting creates a gap, a void between you and the thing you desire. And in this gap, your mind gets consumed with how to fix the problem. How are you going to get your children to stop yelling at you? Or how are you going to get them to respect you? Your mind is going to get stuck on the loop of how you're going to solve all the problems that feel out of your control. And it's going to be exhausting. Or think of times like when you've told yourself, I want to make a lot of money in my business, or I want biryani for dinner. The moment you enter the state of wanting, your brain kicks into overdrive, trying to figure out all of the steps how it's going to get there. How will you make $1 million? How are you going to come up with biryani for dinner when it's already 8 p.m. and all you've got in the fridge is some vegetables? This is like constantly dangling a carrot in front of yourself, but you never actually get to eat it. The human brain, especially the left brain, is designed to be very good at logic and planning. It wants to know how everything's going to happen. But the problem with that is when you're always in the how, you're operating from a place of lack, like you don't already have it. You're acknowledging that you don't have what you desire yet. And that's the mindset that keeps you stuck. Wanting is a state of desire. And desire, while it drives ambition, it also is incredibly taxing on your mind and body. Because studies have shown that being in a constant state of wanting, essentially longing for something, that's where your brain's dopamine system is activated. And that dopamine, the feel-good hormone, is released when you anticipate the reward, not when you actually receive it. That's why the longer you stay in that state of wanting, the more your brain keeps chasing that high. But it actually never feels satisfied. And this loop is metabolically expensive. It drains your mental and physical energy. How are you going to switch this state of wanting to a state of having? This neurotransmitter of dopamine is powerful, but the state of wanting, seeking, and craving, looking for the next hit of excitement, but never really quite being satisfied. From a pure biological standpoint, it's very expensive. So now let's compare it to the state of having something. Having, on the other hand, is linked to serotonin, the neurotransmitter responsible for feelings of contentment and satisfaction. When you shift your mindset to a state of having, your brain no longer needs to depend on the energy of seeking. It does not exhaust itself. You feel calm, centered, and at peace, And this is the space where your true manifestation happens because you've already embodied the thing you desire. That having state is similar to the state of tawakkul, or knowing that you'll get it because you have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not obsessively chasing your desire, but you're embodying a belief in Allah that He will provide. That's the state of having. And the mere power of state of having is gonna look very different, because instead of saying, I want my adult children to respect me, you're gonna say, I am a mother whose adult child might yell at her, but it doesn't register to me. I'm a mother who already is respected by my children. And there's going to be a difference of belief, but the minute you start to believe the state that you want to have, you've moved from wanting to having. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already granted you that dua, and you've closed that gap. You've moved from a high energy state to a low energy sustainable state. When you say, I am a woman who makes $1 million in her business, or I am having biryani for dinner, you're living in an energy of what you desire is already there. The focus is not on how anymore. It's on embodying the state of having. And this is the shift that's emotional and biological. Because when you're in a state of having, your body and mind can just relax and move into receiving what you desire. You're no longer in the state of dopamine-fueled anticipation. You're in a state of satisfaction. So this is where the magic happens, because research in neurosciences will show you that feelings of satisfaction and gratitude will activate different parts of your brain, parts that are different than desire activates. And when you're in that state, and when the satisfied part of your brain is activated, then you receive things completely differently. Then you process things differently. Then you approach problem solving completely differently. That's when you'll realize things that you want just start to appear in front of you. Because subliminally, subconsciously, you're approaching the problem completely openly and with abundance. Manifestation, as otherwise might be taught, is actually not about obsessing over what you want and thinking about it constantly and hoping that someday it will materialize. This law of attraction is misunderstood in this way. It's about wanting something and feeling like you finally have it. Wanting and having are two different physical experiences. You cannot manifest from a place of lack, no matter how powerful your mind is, how important of a wasila, a means of manifestation Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created your mind to be. If you're not in a state of having, your mind will not be able to close the gap, and you will not be able to manifest what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might have already meant for you. Embodying what you want is where the magic happens. You become what you want. If you want to be a woman who wants to be respected by her children, you start embodying that respect. You start believing that you already have it. If you want to make $1 million in your business, you start thinking and acting like somebody who already makes that kind of money. And how are you going to create that difference is by creating a slight change in your language and using I am in front of your sentences. When you say, I am the best mother for my children, or I am a woman whose children respect her, you are affirming a belief. You are using your mind as the most powerful means of manifestation possible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already allowed respect from your children in your life for you. You just have to create it for yourself. When you create sentences like, I am the woman who creates $1 million in her business, you're optimizing your mind and you're using it as the wasila to bring those things into existence. You are creating an alternate reality for your mind and your body, and you're stepping into it by using I am sentences followed by the state or outcome that you already want. And when you're stepping into that reality, this is a reality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already decreed for you. You just have to go grab it from the realm of possibilities, because everything is possible for Allah. So by shifting your internal state, you're going from wanting to having. You are aligning yourself with the process of divine creation. When you embody what you want, you bypass the exhausting process of trying to figure it out how it will happen. You trust that Allah has already placed what you need on your path, and your job is just to be in the state of readiness to receive it. And of course, this doesn't mean that you sit back and do nothing. Action is required, but the action comes from a place of certainty, not doubt. It comes from a place of gratitude and peace, not exhaustion and constant state of desire. While Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ultimate creator, He has entrusted us with the ability to influence our reality. And the most important tool that influences that reality is your mind, primarily the language in your mind. Your mind is the tool that Allah has given you to shape your circumstances. Think about everything you experience, every relationship, every achievement, anything you have currently manifested in your life begins as a thought. The thought nurtures and develops and ultimately comes into your physical world, be it a degree from college that started out as your childhood dream of becoming a professional one day. That started as a thought. Problem usually only is when we're in a perpetual state of wanting rather than having. Let's say you're a mother who feels overwhelmed and wants more help around the house. You find yourself thinking every day, I wish I had more help with chores. This is the state of wanting and wishing. It's full of desire, but it's also filled with a sense of lack. Your mind is registering as that something that you don't have yet. The gap between your current situation and what you truly want the outcome to be. When you're staying in this state of wanting, your brain is going to fixate on how. How can I get more help? How am I supposed to manage everything on my own? How am I going to get through another week like this? I don't have any help. This constant loop of problem solving will drain your energy because you are running in a circle. But now let's imagine the shift of having. Instead of dwelling on, I want more help around the house, you start saying, I am a woman who receives support from her family in keeping the house in order. And you will immediately feel the difference in your body, especially when you start to make it believable with some changes in your own language. And this is the state of having. In this state, you're not focused on what's lacking or what's missing. Instead, you're embodying the solution. Your mind moves from the left brain mode of how, which is analytical, problem-focused, to the right brain mode of I am, which is creative and solution-focused. And the gap between you and your desired outcome starts to close because you're no longer chasing the help. You're living it. In this state, you will begin to see opportunities of collaboration, natural engagements from others that want to step in for you because you're energetically aligned with receiving the help you have. Same thing with the professional outcome. I want my colleagues to help me in this project, a state of wanting, versus I am a woman who receives the help she needs. From that state, you're going to be verbalizing this outcome, that need, much differently than from a place of somebody who doesn't have it yet. The misunderstanding of the law of attraction, especially for Muslims, is that we think that it's asking us to take the divine out of the picture. And while that might be how it's being taught, we as Muslims don't have to believe that. And other than that, the law of attraction is misunderstood as an idea that you have to think about something constantly for it to manifest in your life. If you're in a place of telling your mind, I don't have this yet, no matter how many vision boards you create, no matter how many times you affirm to yourself, no matter how much more different language you use, as long as you remain in the energy of wanting, you will remain in the state of not having it. To manifest, you have to shift your identity. You have to become the person who has what you desire. So I'm going to give you a few scenarios, and hopefully some of this sticks. If not, create your own scenario and work on changing your language. Let's say, I want to find the perfect partner. That's your want. Instead of saying that, practice, I am a woman who is in a loving, fulfilling relationship. I have a partner who cherishes me and supports me. There is a shift. You're not focusing on the absence of love. You're embodying the reality of being loved and appreciated. In this case scenario, your mind is starting to move away from wondering how you're going to get there and starts living in the energy of having that relationship. Another scenario. Instead of saying, I want to feel confident in social situations, you say, I am a woman who walks into every room with confidence. I am a woman who has grace and charisma. I effortlessly connect with others. This statement is taking you from a place of insecurity, from a state of not having confidence, to a state of assurance. You're not worrying about not having confidence. You're acting as somebody who already has it. The gap is starting to close, and you will naturally begin to project that energy in social situations. Another scenario, like let's say, I want to lose weight. Instead of saying that, say, I am a woman who enjoys a vibrant, healthy diet. I am a woman who moves through life with energy and vitality. I am a woman who has the energy to work out and eat healthy. I am a woman who inspires others' journey towards health. Again, you're stopping to focus on what your body isn't and starting to embrace the version of yourself that's already healthy, full of life. Or let's take another case scenario. Instead of saying, I want to get a promotion at work, say things like, I am a woman who excels in her career. I am a woman who's becoming recognized for her contributions. I am a woman who makes companies' progress effortless. I am moving higher and higher into positions that can accommodate my skills and my talent. Again, you're not stuck in the how of climbing the ladder. You're living as a person who is already excelling and who's already at the top of the ladder, who's being rewarded for her work, rather than living in imposter syndrome and constantly second-guessing yourself. Another scenario is, let's say you're somebody who wants to be more organized. Instead of saying, I want to be more organized, you say, I am a woman who manifests organization. I am a woman who has a calm environment. I am a woman who's creating an organized environment for productivity that is exactly right for me. Shifting these statements will move you away from frustration about being disorganized and into the mindset of how to become someone who already has it all together. Let's say you want to go from I want to stop feeling overwhelmed by my responsibility. Then you're going to become a woman who says, I am someone who balances her responsibility. I start my day with clarity. I list out my responsibilities and go through them in their due time. Instead of saying, I want more time for myself, you say, I am a woman who makes time for herself. I am a woman who prioritizes self-care. I lean into my own personal growth. I nurture my mind. When you are in this state, instead of just wishing you could take a break, you're living in a way where you honor yourself for taking a break. And that in itself becomes a relief. Instead of saying, I want to travel more, you say, I am a woman who enjoys exploring new places. I am a woman who creates beautiful memories through travel. I am a woman who loves adventure. All you're doing is shifting your mindset from longing for experiences to already living in them, and living in the belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already granted you the result of these du'as. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed all of these outcomes for you already. The state of wanting alone is exhausting, but the state of having, on the other hand, is a state of satisfaction. It is energetically efficient. Living in the state of having is one of the most beneficial use of living in the state of shukr, or gratitude. Becoming what you desire is ultimately the journey of going from wanting to having. You have to become what you desire. That will mean shifting your thoughts, your emotions, your mindset, and aligning your intentions with your faith, trusting that Allah has already provided you, and being that person who trusts all of this plan before you start to take actions, so that your actions aren't busy work. They aren't filled with rushed energy, but taking actions towards a vision that has already been actualized. That is the most efficient way to spend your energy in action. By moving from a state of wanting, which is filled with anxiety and lack, to a state of having, which is filled with peace and abundance, you will see that blessings in your life will start to unfold that were already hidden, inshallah. And in doing all of this, you're using your mind, your wasila, to the best of its benefits. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you this tool. Your responsibility is to optimize it. Your responsibility is to use your mind to shape your reality. With that, I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, the creator of all things, the sustainer, the giver of every blessing. You have given me my mind and the power to use it as a means to bring forth what you have already willed for me. I ask you, O Allah, to guide my thoughts away from lack and towards abundance. Allow me to embody a reality of having, rather than remaining stuck in a state of wanting. Ya Allah, fill my heart with gratitude for blessings that I have. Fill my heart with trust in the provisions you already have written for me. Help me live in the energy of what I want. A firm faith and belief in my heart that you've already placed what I need right on my path. Strengthen my tawakkul so I no longer chase what is out of my reach, but receive what is already destined for me by you. O Allah, allow my mind to be the best tool possible through which I manifest your blessings. O Allah, deepen my trust in your plan, and let my actions be a reflection of a heart that's already full of shukr, patience, and gratitude for your design. Ameen Ya Rabbul Alameen. Please keep me in your du'as. I will talk to you guys next time. If you're interested in getting coached by me, I'm offering a very affordable opportunity to do that with Wisdom Wednesdays. This is not a course, not a lecture. This is an opportunity for live coaching, real change with Islamic adab and etiquette. You do not need more information. You actually need a space to create change. At $19.99 a month, which is the price of takeout dinner, you as a Muslim woman will create confidence, intimacy, and connection without shame or fear of judgment, because your privacy is my highest priority. So join at www.islamiclifecoachschool.com. Resources, Wisdom Wednesdays. I'll see you inside, inshallah.